Okay, so this lesson is all about, factoring what we call polynomials. So we're going to do a quick review of multiplying binomials, right? Because factoring is basically reverse multiplying, okay? So when we multiply these two binomials, x times x is x squared, x times 4 is 4x, 3 times x is 3x, 3 times 4 is 12. So when we go ahead and we multiply this combined like terms in the middle, we get x squared plus 7x plus 12. Okay, so now we have to think about how could we go from here to here. So next one, x times x is x squared minus 8x minus 2x and then plus 16 because negative 2 times negative 8 is 16. When you combine the two middle terms, negative 8x minus 2x is minus 10x plus 16, and here's what we get. Okay, letter C now, x times x is x squared, right? Then we're going to get minus 3x plus 9x minus 27. And when I combine the middle terms, x squared plus 6x minus 27. So actually, when you see that first question, it says when you multiply two terms by two terms, meaning one, two terms, one, two terms, why is the final result when you multiply two binomials sometimes only three terms? And the reason is because when you combine like terms, that middle term breaks the two terms down to, sorry, the four terms down to three terms. Okay, so one thing we do use everything we're doing in this chapter for is geometry. It says find the area of the rectangle. And when we find the area of any rectangle, we do length times width. So in this case, if we're saying the length and width are x plus 7 and x plus 4, right away if I distribute, I would say the area of this rectangle is x times x is x squared plus 4x plus 7x plus 28. So what that would give me is x squared plus 11x plus 28. So now when you look at the next example, all right, I want you to pause the video, and if you were given the lengths of the sides of a rectangle find the length of the sides of a rectangle whose area is x squared plus 6x plus 8, right? How would you do that? Think about this. How do we go from here to that? Okay. Well, if I look here, right, when I go to rewrite this as x plus 7 times x plus 4, if I find the numbers that multiply to give me 28 and add up to give me 11, right, those numbers are 7 and 4 and 7 plus 4, right? Therefore, we could say that this becomes, if I factor it, you have to have x as your first term to give you x squared, but to get that last term, you need 7 and 4, but at the same time, we need these middle terms, 7x and 4x, to add up to 11x. Okay, so what do we need to have here in order to find the lengths of the sides? Well, what numbers multiply to give me 8 and add up to 6? Well, in this case, 4 and 2 multiply to give you 8, and 4 and 2, 4 and 2 add up to 6. Therefore, we would say x plus 4 is one side, x plus 2 is the other side. Okay, so there is a rhyme and reason why we factor. And when we factor a quadratic trinomial, when a is equal to 1, so basically we say the quadratic trinomial is ax squared plus bx plus c. But when a is equal to 1, a lot of times you just see x squared plus bx plus c. Anytime we do this, we find the numbers that multiply to give you c, that add up to give you b. And if we find these numbers are, say, d and f, right? When we go to factor it to get x squared, we need the first two terms of the binomials to be x and x. And then we say it's plus d plus f. All right, let's look at some examples. So these examples are when c is positive, right? So if c is positive, I know what numbers multiply to give me 18 and add up to give me 11. Well, all the numbers that multiply to give me 18 are 6 and 3, 9 and 2, right? 18 and 1. But at the same time, which set of factors also add up to 11? Well, 6 and 3 add up to 9. 9 and 2 add up to 11, so bingo. So these are the factors we're going to use. So to factor x squared plus 11x plus 18, we would say it's x plus 9 times x plus 2. So what numbers multiply to give me 2 add up to give me 3? Well, this would be x plus 2 times x plus 1. There's only one set of factors for 2, so that makes it easy. And that's 2 times 1 will give you 2, and 2 plus 1 will give you 3. So we factor it as x plus 1 times x plus 2. Now, the next one, what multiplies to give us 90 and adds up to give us negative 19? So when we look at it, there's a lot of numbers that multiply to give you 90. Okay, but if we think about it, 10 and 9, right, will give me, multiply to give me 90. When I add them up, it would give me 19. But here's the thing, if I make it negative 10 and negative 9, that would give me 90. And negative 10 plus negative 9 would give me negative 19. So the set of factors we're going to use are negative 10 and negative 9. So this final answer would factor out to be x minus 10 times x minus 9. Okay. So what happens if c is negative, right? What multiplies to give me negative 20 and adds up to 8? The number one thing you have to keep in mind here is if you have to multiply to get a negative, you know your signs have to be different. Meaning, numbers I have to talk about to give me negative 20 would be something like negative 4 and 5, negative 5 and 4, negative 10 and 2, 10 and negative 2, right? So when I look at these, and there's 20 and negative 1 and 20, but which one of these adds up to positive 8? And the ones that add up to positive 8 in this case are going to be 10 and negative 2. So 10 times negative 2 gives you negative 20. 10 plus negative 2 adds up to 8. So we're going to say this factors out to be y plus 10 since it's positive 10 and y minus 2. And if you think about it, y times y gives me y squared. Y times negative 2 is negative 2y plus 10y gives me 8y. Oh, that should be a y. And then 10 times negative 2 is negative 20. So this is your answer. Now, same number, what multiplies to give you negative 20, right? What multiplies to give you negative 20 and adds up to negative 1? In this case, we have 5 and negative 4, negative 5 and 4. These both multiply to give you negative 20, but which set adds up to negative 1? It would be negative 5 and 4. So x minus 5 times x plus 4. Finally, the last one for this set of notes. What numbers multiply to give me negative 48 and add up to 8? Well, in this case, again, a lot of numbers multiply to give you negative 48. such as like -6 and 8, -8 and 6. Then you could basically go -12 and 4, 4 and -12. So there's a lot of numbers. So this should be 12 and -4. So which set of these factors will add up to 8? These add up to 2. These add up to -2. That adds up to -8. This adds up to 8. Therefore, the set of factors you're going to use are going to be x plus 12 times x minus 4. Okay, so what I want you to do is take the checkup problems. I want you to go ahead and try this page on your own, and then come back and continue the video to check your answers. So what multiplies to give me -14 and adds up to -5? I know the first two terms are x. Then what multiplies to give me -14 adds up to -5? It's going to be -7 and +2. I can check my answer real quick. X times x is x squared. You get 2x minus 7x is -5x. And -7 times 2 is -14. Next one. What multiplies to give me -8 adds up to 2, right? That would be +4, -2. So right away, my first term is x and x because x times x is x squared. My last term has to multiply to give me -8. So it's going to be +4 minus 2. And when I check my middle terms real quick, that's 4x. This is -2x. And 4x minus 2x gives me 2x. Therefore, I know my factored form is correct. Next one. What multiplies to give me 56 and adds up to 15, right? 8 times 7 gives me 56. 8 plus 7 gives me 15. So we're going to say it's x plus 8, x plus 7. The next one. All right. What multiplies to give me 48 and adds up to -16? Well, if I look, I'm going to multiply to get a positive, but add up to get a negative. So I know my first terms are x. And if I look at this, 48 would be -12 times -4. That'll give me +48. And they also add up to -16. So it's -12 minus 4. Number 5. Right away, I write my binomial factors. X is my first term. What multiplies to give me 27 and adds up to -12? That would be -9 and -3. So -9 minus 3. So what multiplies to give you 40 and adds up to 13? So you know your first term is x. And 8 times 5 gives me 40. 8 plus 5 gives me 13. So +5 or +8 plus 5. Even if you write it the opposite way, it's still correct. Both of these answers are correct because multiplication is commutative. Now, what multiplies to give me 49 adds up to 14? That would be 7 and 7 multiply to give you 49. 7 and 7 add up to 14. So x plus 7, x plus 7. Now, you may see some textbooks write this as x plus 7 all to the second power. All right. Now, right away in the next one, so a little trick here. You know if your C is positive, so I have to multiply to get 42, right? You know your signs have to be the same. So your first terms are x. Then I know my signs are the same, and they have to add up to a negative. So I know it's a negative and a negative. And I know the numbers I choose have to multiply to give me 42 and add up to a negative. Okay. So what multiplies to give me 42 and adds up to -23? Well, I know 21 and 2 multiply to give me 42, but these add up to 23. So if I make it -21 and -2, That multiplies to give me 42, and they also add up to give me negative 23. So it'd be x minus 21, x minus 2. And we're done. The next one, what multiplies to give me negative 8, adds up to 7, right? That would be x and x are my first term. Then I can do negative 8 times 1 or negative 1 times 8. Both of these multiply to give me negative 8, but which ones add up to positive 7? That would be the second set of factors, minus 1 plus 8. How do I check? X times x gives me x squared. Negative 1 times 8 gives me negative 8. Then that gives me 8x minus 1x. Does that give me 7x? Yes. Therefore, I know this is my final answer. And the last one. What multiplies to give me negative 18 and adds up to negative 7, right? So again, to multiply to get negative 18, you could do negative 9 and 2, or negative 2 and 9. You could do 6 and 3. Negative 6 and 3, negative 3 and 6. Do any of these pairs add up to negative 7? And right away you'll see negative 9 and 2 multiply to give you negative 18, add up to negative 7. So x minus 9 times x plus 2. And that's how it factors. This becomes a big part of what we're going to be doing in the future. So you have to get really good at this. All right. Go ahead, do the quiz, and let me know if you have any questions.